What does the rise of the AK party mean to Turkey?
Will you take one of us? Okay, thank you. This one.
For decades, Turkey has been seen as proof that the West and Islam can coexist peacefully, but things here might be changing.
Thank you.
We came here to Turkey because this country seems to be going through an identity crisis that could impact the entire world.
Just outside Istanbul's ancient walls, hundreds of police officers line up. The largest political party in Turkey is holding a rally, and hundreds of thousands of supporters are pouring into the site. Mitch follows the crowds in, and everyone seems glad to see him and his camera. The mood here is upbeat because this party has been in control of Turkey's government for the last several years. But despite this seemingly friendly atmosphere, rallies like this one are a frightening symbol to many Turks because the ruling party, the AK party, originally started as an Islamist party, a party that wants Islam to have a greater role in Turkey's government. And Islam in government is against everything that the modern nation of Turkey was founded upon.
This is the European side of Turkey, and over there is the Asian side of the country. Turkey has been known to be a crossroads between the East and the West, but it's also a crossroads between the Western world and the Muslim world.
Over 80 years ago, the modern Turkish state was founded with one goal: progress. Over 90% of Turks are Muslim, but Turkey's founders decided that progress meant separating religion from government and that Turkey would be secular. Women were given the right to vote, and while they might wear headscarves in a mosque, they were forbidden from wearing them in government offices and in schools. The Arabic alphabet was replaced with the Latin one that's used in the West, and the day of rest was moved from Friday, the Muslim Sabbath, to Sunday.
I've been in a few countries that have Muslim majorities, such as Iran or Egypt, where you, as a woman, you either have to wear a headscarf or you feel like you have to dress a little bit more conservatively. Here in Turkey, it's just not like that. Hence the shorts and flip-flops.
The nation just across Turkey's eastern border is Iran. There, Islamic law, or Sharia, is strictly enforced. You can see it most obviously in the dress code for women. Not only headscarves, but long coats that make, say, a beach excursion kind of difficult. But that's not so in Turkey.
We're out here on the Black Sea, just outside of Istanbul, and we're going to head down to the beach. But we were just told by one of the beach guards that we're not allowed to take our video camera inside, so I'm going to take my still camera and try to get some shots. Most people we saw were in their bathing suits or swim trunks. They were just enjoying their day at the beach. There was one woman who was wearing an Islamic bathing suit, but she too was just hanging out in the water with the rest of them.
Secularism in Turkey doesn't stop with the dress code. In most Islamic nations, Muslims aren't supposed to drink alcohol.
It is a Tuesday night here. It's, I think it's around 8:30. And this area is bustling.
Yeah.
In contrast, the wives of the leaders of the AK party do wear headscarves. And since the AK has assumed power, some Turks began to worry that their freedoms were at risk.
Do you worry as a woman in Turkey that some of the religious laws could take an effect, that you would one day have to wear a headscarf? Does that enter people's minds?
I personally don't worry, but I do have friends who do not like the idea that this political party is getting stronger.
The AK Party today says that it's no longer an Islamist party and that it upholds Turkey's secular traditions. But in 2008, it changed one of Turkey's secular laws by allowing headscarves to be worn in universities. So the question in Turkey and the world is, what does the rise of the AK Party mean to Turkey as an example of a democratic Muslim-majority state coexisting with Western values?
The biggest question of Muslim world is not whether Islam is compatible with democracy or not. I think that the real question is whether the Islamist movement as a political ideology is compatible with democracy or not.
Why am I have to defend that I'm Muslim?
If she wants not to wear a scarf, that's okay. And if I want to wear a scarf, that should be okay, but that's not.
This is one of the main walking streets in Istanbul, and you'll see some women who are wearing headscarves, but most women aren't. You'll also see women with headscarves walking around with women who aren't wearing headscarves.
Although well over 90% of its 70 million people are Muslim, Turkey doesn't look like a lot of other Islamic countries. That's because it's secular. The government has no laws based on religion. The day off is Sunday, not Friday, the Muslim Sabbath. Alcohol is widely available, and the traditional Muslim woman's headscarf is banned for government workers and until 2008 for university students. Still, at least half the women in Turkey wear headscarves.
We are in a more conservative neighborhood here in Istanbul. You can see that many of the women, not all, but many of them wear the headscarf. Some are dressed in the all-black veil. And this store actually specializes in more conservative clothing. You can see that the mannequins all have the headscarves on. A very fashionable headscarf, I might add. Can you show me how to put it on?
Takın.
Are more young women starting to wear the headscarves? Do you see a lot of young women wearing them for the first time?
Yani genelde
Why do you think more women are starting to wear the headscarf?
İslam dininin bize öngördüğü bazı kurallar vardır. Daha doğrusu kural demeyeyim de kendini korumak adına diyeyim. Bizim uygun gördüğümüz bu. Biz bu şekilde rahat hissediyoruz. Kendimizi bu şekilde de ifade edebildiğimizi düşünüyorum. Ondan dolayı takıyoruz.
Do you think all women should wear the headscarf?
Yok. İslamiyet'te zorlama yoktur. Sizin kurallarınıza, sizin aklınıza, mantığınıza uyuyorsa yaparsınız. Yoksa yani açık gezenler de var. Ben isteseydim ben de açık olabilirdim ama ben kapalı olmayı tercih ettim.
But today in Turkey, the headscarf has become an issue again. A few years back, this political party called the AK Party was elected into power. It advocates traditional Islamic values, and the wives of its leaders, including the wife of Turkey's president and prime minister, wear headscarves. In 2008, the AK Party passed legislation lifting the ban on wearing headscarves in universities. In protest, hundreds of thousands of angry Turks marched, demanding that Turkey stay secular. I'm just sitting here at this advertising agency, Draft FCB. We were having lunch around the corner and we met the CEO who invited us into her office to speak with some of the women who work here. In fact, the CEO of this ad agency was so angry about the headscarf issue that on no notice she pulled a bunch of her female executives in to talk to us.
Are you all Muslim here?
Yes, of course.
Is it sensitive right now, the issue between like the Islamic Party and, you know, the idea that Turkey is a secular state?
Religion is not about how you get dressed or, you know, like what you drink or what you do or what you say. It's, I mean, it should be anyhow about, you know, like about your beliefs and all that stuff. We never had this who's covering their head or not. So why we're having this kind of a debate, you know, like why am I have to defend that I'm Muslim? You know, I mean, and they are Muslim, so I'm not. So what is the thing? So you have to look at it from this perspective also. I mean, why do I have to defend or assure people that, hey, I'm Muslim.
When we were speaking to these women who work for this advertising agency, they said, you know, all of this talk about the headscarf, it almost makes us feel like we're less religious and we're not good Muslims.
I can never say that a Muslim woman not wearing a headscarf is less religious than me. If she wants not to wear a headscarf, that's okay. And if I want to wear a headscarf, that should be okay, but that's not.
So in a way, the right to wear a headscarf for you is about having more freedoms and actually fighting for the freedom of choice.
Yeah, it's just like that. It's fighting for freedom, and this is my personal choice, and I want to practice it. And just as I don't interfere any other person's clothes, they shouldn't be interfering in mine.
And that's the big question in Turkey today. Which freedom is at stake? Is it the right of Turkish women to be like women in non-Muslim nations? Or is it the right of Muslim women to be like women in non-Western nations? On the one hand, when the present nation of Turkey was founded after World War I, one reason it was made secular was because women did not enjoy very equal status with men, a condition that still exists in parts of Turkey today. Where do women stand in Turkey today?
Actually, women are, striving to play active roles, but we cannot say that the women's situation is very bright in Turkey. As you said, we have still honor killings.
In eastern Turkey, I met with these local leaders who confirmed the unequal status of women there. Are wives chosen for husbands?
Yani eskiden kadının seçimi, yani bundan diyelim ki bir 10-15-20 yıl önce kadının seçme şansı yoktu. Şu anda da öyle bir şansı yoktur da kadın genelde erkek daha seçici olur. Kadın da kime verilirse ona razı olacak.
Then I brought up the subject of honor killings, the killing of women who are thought to have dishonored their families. So if I were within the family and I had an affair, what would happen? Would different family members come together and decide what sort of punishment?
What kind of an affair? That's important. What kind of an affair?
A deep, passionate affair with somebody from another feudal family.
Are you married?
I am married.
Tamam. Çözdük. Evli misin dedim. Evliyim dedi. Ama evliymiş zaten.
O evliyse hiç onun çaresi yoktur. O ciddi bir mesele.
Okay.
O ciddi.
He says, if it went to a very deep level,
Öldürmeye kadar gider.
Where you had sex, then you would have to get married. And I said, well, she's married. Oh, if she's married, that's a very serious situation. That could end up. That could end up to her death.
And what if it's the husband who's committing the affair?
Peki eğer koca yaparsa diyor, ne olur? Mesela ben evliyim ama benim kocam yaptı.
Koca yaparsa problem yok.
Hiçbir altı. No problem.
Fatma feels that the laws intended to help women, like the headscarf ban, also discriminate against them. The headscarf is banned in public buildings, government buildings, government offices. Has this posed any limitations to women who wear headscarves?
You cannot work in public buildings. Also, the private companies do not accept women wearing headscarves.
Sure about the color, huh?
No, there's nicer ones.
There's so many choices. You really could be here for hours trying to decide. What do you think?
It's very nice. I like that.
You like it? He likes it. Too blue? This one. Is this one silk?
That is better. Yes, better.
But this one's not silk.
So are you waiting for your wives?
Yes. I'm waiting for my sister, yes.
Oh, for your sister? Do most women in your family wear a headscarf?
Yes, everybody. Every woman.
Everybody?
Every woman.
Do you think all women in Turkey should wear the headscarf?
Everybody can say yes or no.
Because a lot of women do not wear it.
I haven't got a problem with this.
But do you prefer women with headscarves?
For me, it's not a problem. It's
Yes or no? It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Important is that the people are good. This is a big thing. This is my opinion.
So you like this one then?
It's okay.
Thank you.
Those are nice, actually. That's an interesting answer, actually.
Yeah? Okay. In terms of the status of women, how free are women in Turkey today?
I am the first, for instance, woman CEO in the whole network that we have in the world. We have 190 offices around the world, and I'm the first CEO, woman. So, there is no difference.
Do you feel like your freedom, the freedom that you have as women, are at stake?
No, we don't feel that, we will have to cover our heads like Iran next day. But we don't know what's going to happen in 20 years and what we are going to leave our kids, basically.
We believe that their end game is to change this, secular, laïc Turkey into a Muslim fundamental government. That's what we're afraid of, actually.
But when you talk to supporters of the AK party, you don't necessarily get the feeling that they're pushing for Turkey to become a fundamentalist Islamic state.
Would you like your women or girlfriend to wear the headscarf?
Ablalarım açık. Ama eşim kapalı yani.
So your mother doesn't cover, your sister doesn't cover her head, but your fiance does. It's not a big issue to you, and it's her choice.
Kapalı ya, tabii.
Is there any tension between the AK party, which is the Islamic party, and people who support total secularism in Turkey?
We don't think bad things about other peoples, but I guess they don't feel the same about us. We don't have any problems.
We hear a lot of talk about the headscarf as a religious symbol, but in some ways it could also just be a form of tradition. Here, this woman in this shop, she wears a headscarf, but she also sells alcohol. What direction do you think the status of women is headed in Turkey?
Is headed in Turkey, okay. Well, I can tell you that the number of women with headscarves on has increased in last decade. In the Turkish society, if you go to villages far away from the cities and so on, you see many women with headscarves. They don't need to be really religious to wear headscarves and things. This is also something traditional. But there is this headscarf, which is called turban, has a political statement, is a symbol of a political statement in some people's eyes. But at the same time, we have some women who really sound like feminists, and they have headscarves.
Do you wish that all women in Turkey would be wearing the headscarf?
No, of course not. It's their belief. It's what I believe. So
I believe, I use it. She doesn't believe, she doesn't use it. There's no problem. We can be friends.
I'm gonna try one more and that's it. What do you think?
I think you should get it.
I made a choice.
You made a choice, alright. Good job.
And my hair's screwed for the rest of the day. I might have to wear a headscarf.
Do you have friends and family members who choose to not wear the headscarf?
Sure, yeah, my sister is not wearing, for example.
Do you have debates about why she should or why you shouldn't?
Never, ever. We don't discuss such issues in our family because everyone is respecting towards the others style. When I decided to cover my head, my parents did not welcome it that much. They said, "Okay, you see, Fatma, there are so many problems regarding the headscarf in Turkey. Do you think you'll be able to handle them?" Yes, I said, I want to do this, and I just...
People don't really think about, you know, the idea of women's liberation as being, you know, fighting to wear the headscarf, really.
Yeah, they just think the opposite thing.
What does the rise of Turkey's AK Party, which is known for its more traditional Islamic roots, mean? Rushan Shaker is a columnist for a secular newspaper. After covering the AK Party for many years, he's not so sure that Islam is the basis for the AK's appeal. What is the appeal of the ruling party?
They really provided some services to the poor, especially in the education, in the sanitary issues. They changed so many, let's call this the status of the hospitals, etc. They gave so many service especially to the lower class.
And when you see the AK Party reaching out to Turkish people, it doesn't necessarily seem to be on the basis of Islam.
Here you can see they're handing out water on a really hot day and attracting a lot of attention.
Get some water on a hot day. You want some?
No, I'm okay.
Another clue is in Turkey's economic performance since the AK Party took over. It's much better than in previous years.
Some say that Turkey's ruling party is popular because of its Islamic roots, and others point to what they've done for the economy. When I was working here about 7 years ago, inflation was sky high. It was running between 60 and 70% a year. The equivalent of $1 was about 700,000 lira. So you had to carry wads of cash around with you, even to buy a cup of tea. But in the last few years, things have changed a lot. Inflation is now running in the single digits, and the new Turkish lira is pretty much equivalent to the US dollar. The economy has been growing about 6 to 7% a year. And these are things that could be appealing to voters who don't necessarily care about the party's Islamic roots.
And many of the AK's backers say that they're not trying to subvert Turkey's democratic values.
They want to show that the Islam and democracy can coexist. This is really important. If we can manage this in Turkey, then this will be a good example for the other Islamic countries.
The ruling party, AKP, doesn't have a hidden agenda. I never believed this, and I don't believe today and tomorrow. I think the same.
You don't believe Turkey will become another Iran?
Never.
We've been asking quite a few people here whether they think Turkey is at a crossroads, and some people say yes. They say either the country is going to be headed down the path of democracy or it's going to veer the other way and head towards fundamentalism. But an interesting statement that we've also heard is that Turkey isn't at a crossroads. It's just heading down a road. It's evolving towards modernization. And if the country can in fact reconcile Islam and democracy, that it truly will become a model for the Muslim world.
See more Vanguard Wednesdays at 10 p.m. on Current or online at current.com/Vanguard.